The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, April 12th, and welcome to another edition of the Daily Hour.
Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. If you're watching online, share the link. If you're on Facebook, start a watch party. If you're on Twitter, retweet it. If you're watching on channel 82 or listening on the Full 100 radio station, call someone up, let them know that we're on. Just get the conversation out there to your network, and don't forget to like and engage with us. A good one to begin the week as Davida O'Brien from the BTA and Bobby Singh from OBMI stopped by, and the daily play is a Who Said It. But before we get to those great folks, we have a lot to talk about, Carla. Can you guess what we're talking about today?
I sure can. We're going to talk about yesterday's announcement by the Bermuda government. We're going to talk about Dante Wright, I believe it's the young man's name, in Minneapolis. We're going to talk about you getting wet over the weekend.
I definitely didn't have me on this agenda.
I did.
I definitely didn't. First, I think we should start by acknowledging, because it did happen once we got off air. At least it was confirmed, the death of DMX, and I think it happened the same day on this show when we announced the news that the husband of Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip, had passed away. DMX was so much to the hip hop community, and I don't think a lot of people who follow rap today quite understand what he meant back then. I mean, I've spoken about it before. A guy coming out barking today would probably not make it very far, but I mean, he had his own way, a raspy voice, but also he was a preacher in some form, right?
His spirituality was awesome.
Yeah, he was.
No matter what he went through, he never forgot, or he never put his spirituality behind him. It seemed like the more he went through, and he said it, the more he went through, no matter what it was, the stronger he remained in his faith.
Yeah, I think DMX, if there's a lesson to be learned from his life that so many of us can benefit from, is he controlled the narrative of his life. Like, he was transparent. He told you about when he was first given the drug and how he got addicted to it. He was very transparent about his entire existence. And so I think there's lessons to be learned, but the world has lost someone that in many respects was more than a rapper. And so may his legacy live on through his music and also the words that he used to empower others from his own experiences. We have a lot to discuss, folks. We're going to get to the, I guess, lockdown, not lockdown at the government of Bermuda, and the comments made by Premier David Burt. Police in Virginia, we didn't speak about this. They basically arrested an Army lieutenant in uniform, and want to touch on that as well.
I saw that.
Another shooting in like 20 minutes or 20 miles outside of where the trial's taking place for Derek Chauvin over George Floyd's, but another shooting death involving a black male out there, and it looks like tensions are high. The fires in Bermuda, we can't ignore this. Fire at Pigs Field over the weekend. But before we go there, we have another winner for our question for the weekend. So do you remember what this week's question was, Carla?
Yes. What time does the daily play take place?
Yeah, and thought it was an easy question, and most people got it right.
You want to giggle?
Sure, I
I
want to
got it
get
wrong. I read it wrong on Insta. So if you notice my response, it said at the time when Jamel gives people nicknames, I was thinking of the Daily Talk. So even I got it wrong, but I didn't say it louder, but I was giggling to myself, but I wasn't going to put it in the public space.
what you've lost. What's the daily talk?
Our daily discussion, because I said it's the time when Jamal gives people nicknames. Because I was thinking about our discussion, like what we're having now. But the daily play is when I sing and stuff. So I got it wrong. I just didn't say the wrong letter. I knew the time was correct, but what happens in that time, I got wrong. I was so excited because I knew you were going to be jumping the next day, so I got carried away. Sorry.
I was not jumping anywhere. I was pushed, and we'll get to that too. The question this weekend was at approximately what time does the daily play take place on the show? And I would say the majority got the answers. Did any of you all get the answers correct? Don't worry about me being frozen, folks. Trust me, you don't want to see my face the other way. But don't worry about me being frozen. As long as you can hear me, we are good. All right. So the answer was what, Carla?
um, I don't know have these orders, but the time is from 50 to 50, from 50 to 55 is the time. But I don't know what the A, B, C, or D was. I don't recall.
So A
But
was 5 to 10 minutes, B was 50 to 55, C was 20 to 25, and D was 30 to 35. The correct answer was B, 50 to 55. And the winner of this week's prize, which will be a mug, Daily Hour mug, and $25 gift voucher to Linda's, was going to be Kathy Rogers. So, Kathy Rogers, congratulations to you on being the second winner behind last week, Elizabeth Varel. So we have two winners so far, but folks, that's when we go off air on Fridays, just keep in mind there's a lot going on. So make sure if you want to enter the winnings, win something from us, walk around with a cool Daily Hour mug and an extra $25 to spend somewhere in your pocket, then play the game. Very easy. Now let's get into the Honorable Premier David Burt. Trust me, you all are going to be happy my screen is frozen. I'm not fixing it. I'm not. No. We're not going to do that. You sighed, Carla. Why'd you sigh?
this is one of the few times that I watched it live, right? Last night. And I stayed up late. It was 11 o'clock in the UK, but I wanted to see it.
Mhm.
And when the Honorable Premier opened up, he said, towards the end of his opening, he said, I'm here. I'm basically in isolation because I tested positive for COVID. And he said I had very low levels. And so I was one of them that was questioning like levels. I didn't realize that it had different degrees of levels. And a lot of people picked up on it. And some jokes began, etc. But then um later on, it was either Earl Baisden or Don Burgess who said, well, Mr. Premier, you have COVID. And he said, I didn't say I had COVID. I said that I tested positive and for the disease. And I think that that was an opportunity because this is the one thing that we must realize. Not everybody understands everything. And I think that because Dr. Weldon did a tweet explaining about the levels. But I also feel that the premier forgot that he was talking to laymen and women. So what he could have done was explained it a bit better as opposed to leaving that hanging, because what it did, it opened up a whole can of worms. Because I even made a comment. I was like, well, if you're pregnant, you can't be half pregnant or low pregnant. You're pregnant, right? But I think that the minister missed that learning opportunity. And what someone else said was, well, that's why you have the medical professionals there. So he could have deferred to I'll call him Dr. Ayo because I can't pronounce his last name, to Dr. Ayo, to have Dr. Ayo explain that to the public, because that one statement left more questions than ever by him doing that. So I think he missed an opportunity.
Does this come across like the frog sipping tea? That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah, he missed it.
I hear what you're saying, and props to Trevor for the pregnancy thing last night. I mean, that just
You steal that from me, Jamal. Thank you.
You are
Tell them, people.
claiming that lame line, though funny. But
Yeah.
anyway, it was good. Here's the issue that I think the premier faces. I'm not going to say it was Dexter Smith because it just says editor. So I don't necessarily know who writes each editorial. But there was an editorial written not long ago. And when I say not long ago, it was within the time frame of the David Burt being premier since 2017. And it spoke to David Burt always seemingly wanting to be the smartest person in the room. And if you learn anything through your journey in life, it's that you should never want to be the smartest person in the room. David Burt has been called a lot of things, micromanager, this, that, and the other. Thankfully or unfortunately, I've not been in a position where I've had to work under Premier David Burt, so I don't necessarily know this. I can only go by things people are saying. But what I've noticed since the press conferences began, and this is my issue with not only the premier but also the Minister of Health, who I've been very honest about, I have not liked as an individual since the whole conscription thing when she was Attorney General. And when I say liked, it's not personal, it's her as a politician and how she stands. And I feel like this government continuously misses the mark. Your number one priority is the people of the Bermuda. It's not about you. It's not about your political party, but it's almost like this popularity contest gives them egos. I'm not a scientist. So David Burt, the premier, could have been absolutely correct in what he said. But I think what Carla said about layman folks is, you already have a hostile people. You already have people that are feeling some sort of way. This is not helping the situation. I think Katora Horton Parent Chief wrote on one of my posts yesterday. You had two medical professionals on that Zoom as well. Not one of them thought it was a great idea to say, Mr. Premier, let me tell you. And I'll tell you why they probably didn't. Because they believe that they have to stay in their line and they don't want to be punished. Comments that Mr. Premier David Burt makes like, well, the cabinet made a decision. If anyone in the cabinet disagreed, then they can resign. That doesn't help you, bro. So I think this really comes down to his leadership. And my hope is that he can check himself, old school here, before he wrecks himself. I know, corny, but it's real though. It's real because this doesn't have to be what it is. But Mr. Premier, you've got to do a better job in communicating with the people of Bermuda. Because last night, if that stupid awards thing, Best of Bermuda, was voting for political gaffe, you would have been up there with Keynes and De Silva from the party at Blue, bruh.
But here's the other funny, Mal. So let's just say after this 7-day lockdown and someone goes out and about and defies an order or whatever, and they say, well, I have low-level COVID. Like, he's opened up this can of worms for people to then choose to interpret it. Now, Dr. Weldon did say that, and she did say it on Twitter. Any results that come from the lab do have what level of COVID that you have, right? So watch, it's going to come back and it's going to be like, you know what? Yeah, I went, over to cousin Granny's house. I have low level COVID. I just thought when I saw that, I was just like, oh, bad move, Premier, bad move, because now you're differentiating yourself from everybody else.
But Carla, my immediate response was very different from the masses. And my response was different because of how I process things. I didn't think like all of you all. When he said that, you have commercials that are on TV right now that pretty much speak to this. They speak about HIV. I think it was one of the actor guys, Charlie Sheen. oh yes, but it's not traceable. So science has told us that there are low levels of things. The problem is that this is the first time anyone heard of it, and it probably should not have come from him. It should have probably come from an expert, and that expert, who's done a wonderful job of explaining stuff, would be Dr. Karika Weldon in this respect. So I just think it's time for the premier to say less. If ever there was a time, just say less. Yes, you have to lead, but let the experts do their job, Mr. Premier.
And even when Don asks,
move on, Carla. I'm sorry, we really do. We have to move on. We can always talk about this tomorrow, but there's a much more we can talk about on this, from the sale GP, Earl's questions to Don's questions. I mean, this is a deep conversation. I'm going to share some of the comments before we move on real quickly. But David Burt, if he's not listening, someone just pass some messages along with, because at the end of the day, let me say this before we move on. David Burt is not the problem. Let me be clear with that. The Premier David Burt is not the problem. The problem is irresponsible, selfish individuals. So let's not get stuck on David Burt and his recklessness. That's just another side piece. The problem is that everyone wants to do their own thing. So let's not get lost in what the premier said and shouldn't have said. Let's go to some comments. I don't know why people talking about me drinking in my face. The Chico Trot, the levels should have been explained at the press conference. Agreed. I agree. Tamara Richardson, Carla.
But the only question is, does it matter? For a year, Bermuda has cast all positives into the same quarantine bucket. Why are we now distinguishing?
Now, I'm not going to give my opinion, but again, that's why the medical expert should have been there. But you're right, and that doesn't help the situation. Mia Hartman says his script backfired. He forgot his lines once Don asked that question, and the answer that came, the CMO looked extremely uncomfortable. Look, it's a lot to talk about on that. I want to address the fires. There's been a lot of fires in Bermuda, and there was recently a fire at Pigsfield. Here's my plea to the people of Bermuda. Last week, as we spoke about the murders that are taking place in Bermuda, I said, someone always knows something. If you know who this arsonist is, please tell them stop, because it's not helping anything. Please tell them stop. Please tell them stop. Nikisha, if you want to hear what Carla has to say, you can text her, but that's not how this show works. Hi, morning. Please. There was a video this weekend about the police, Carla, in Bermuda. And people had opinions. You and Jackie had opinions. And people are up in arms saying the police used excessive force because they were breaking up a gathering during COVID. I don't know the details, and the police, I guess, explained their side of the story. What's the story on that?
Oh, it's actually in the newscast, but it's in my newscast, yeah. But without revealing everything, the newscast, basically, the context is that what was recorded was only one part of what was seen. But basically, the gentleman in question was extremely aggressive, would not back down, and hence it resulted in the footage that we saw.
Okay. Here's what I'll say to the police being excessive, if that's what was the case. If people are breaking laws, okay, there are consequences. We continuously say that on this show. There's consequences to actions, right? But if, in fact, there was excessive force used, as it's been claimed, there's never an excuse for that. Right now, there's a court case taking place in the United States where, let's say, a man was passing a counterfeit currency, right? Let's say it was. That's still no excuse for a police officer to use excessive force. So again, I don't have the details, just going on basically what's being said by each side. But there is never, in my opinion, a case where excessive force should be used. That's why they're supposed to be trained in a manner to de-escalate rather than escalate. That said, folks, there are consequences to the actions that you know are wrong. So we can't cry wolf when we break the rules and look for an excuse to justify what we were doing. It's that simple. We have a lot more to discuss. We're going to have our guest on, Davida O'Brien and Bobby Singh. We're going to be talking about accessibility. And we'll get back to some of this stuff because we have a lot more to discuss. Mondays are so jam-packed. Carla's got a news break for us. Then we'll have the conversation daily focus. And then we'll come back and we'll do some other things. But until Carla's done with that, I'm just going to sip my, product placement is a thing these days. Just going to sip my tea. It's really water. And let Carla do her thing. It's really water.
In a statement released over the weekend, a Bermuda Police Service spokesperson defended the actions of its officers responding to reports of a COVID breach. It was reported that there was a gathering of approximately 30 people at an enclosed premises who were not wearing masks or practicing social distancing. Upon police arrival, several persons attempted to leave the scene, while others were found hiding inside the premises. One individual became aggressive and, when warned about his actions, became even more confrontational towards officers who attempted to arrest him. The spokesperson goes on to say, because of the subject's aggressive behavior, there was a use of force proportional to the situation faced by the officers. Other partygoers began confronting the officers, who moved to disperse them, warning that they too faced being arrested. Officers produced their tasers in an effort to get the group to comply. At no time, says the spokesperson, were tasers deployed, even as the officers were outnumbered and at risk. The video depicts only what happened after the arrest and not what led to it. He concludes by saying, "We stand by our officers, as throughout the entire episode, they acted professionally in keeping the dictates of their training and in compliance with proper police protocol." Grilled cheese is a classic childhood favorite that simply can't be beaten. Kids and adults alike love this simple yet tasty meal. Everyone knows that grilled cheese is something almost any human can make, but have you ever wondered who thought of the idea in the first place? Grilled cheese has a rich history behind it, and so does Grilled Cheese Sandwich Day. So why not take the time to make a grilled cheese sandwich and celebrate Grilled Cheese Sandwich Day with a selection of friends and family? And for Jamal, that would mean just having an order of toast. Turning to weather, the temperature in Bermuda is expected to reach a high of 71. Newark, New Jersey will see a high of 50, and London, UK, a high of 48. That's your Daily Hour news break.
Alrighty, thanks so much for that. Gonna take a quick break. You said grilled cheese sandwich or something?
Grilled Cheese Sandwich Day.
Nah, more for you. We'll be right back after this message.
Hi, I'm Karen, a nurse at the old folks home. These long hours used to kill my feet until my hairdresser told me about a great place to buy a pair of clogs. Medical House. Finally, relief. They also carry uniforms in bright, bold colors. And not to mention the support stockings.
Karen, Miss Soltis bet her bet again.
Oh gosh, these days, I need all the support I can get.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke.
Nature's Path Organic are a family business, major proponents of the organic method of food production with decades of experience in the field, and have diversified their interests focusing on animal welfare and children's education in that realm. Hence the introduction of Enviro Kids cereal made to the exacting standards we expect and benefiting their cause. Saving animals one breakfast at a time. 1% of sales goes towards protection of animals and their habitats. We're featuring Enviro Kids organic, gluten-free Gorilla Munch cereal. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
All right, welcome back to the big show. Carlos Zil, Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and our friends over at Channel 82, where you can also watch this and many other locally produced shows if you have One Communications cable. Don't forget, folks, also If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. A lot of things that you can pick up on there, and make sure you where's Mark Phillips usually puts it in the comments, all things smash and like, and get the notifications. Look, we have some guests in the building today: Davida O'Brien from the BTA and Bobby Singh from OBMI. Another important conversation, because we've been talking about accessibility. Carla has some challenges on her end. I'm not sure if she wants to speak to you guys about them. So I'm being serious. Maybe Bobby Singh can help her with that.
He's so stupid.
What? All right, let's bring in our guest for the day. Davida, Bobby, welcome to the show.
Morning,
Guys.
I know you heard.
No, I'm curious. Who would know what he's talking about?
Oh, I know what he's talking about.
Wait, do you? I just have a broken chair, so I was telling him the chair has one arm, so it's affecting my posture. So sometimes you may see me because I realize I'm leaning. So he said I have a disabled chair. He's so silly.
I mean, Bobby, can you help with these kind of things or what? I mean,
oh my gosh, Carla. Well, first of all, I just want to say that I feel like I'm in the presence of celebrities. I listen to you guys every single day, mostly every single day, and it's exciting to be here. But Carla, oh my gosh, girl, you need to get a new chair.
Ergonomics are important, right? Ergonomics are important.
Absolutely,
it really is.
Well,
maybe you can get a PO from Jamal to get one, purchase one.
There you go, Bobby. And let me say, it's nice to see your face. I've always seen the name. It's great to see you. And Dee, always great to see you.
Thank you, guys.
And let me say, I see your cat in the background. We are a pet friendly show. We from Rusty G's dog to Cheryl, her cat. So just let your cat know if they need a meow during the show. It's all good. All right. Let's get to the convo. The last time, Davida, when you were on, you spoke to the focus on the accessibility. We really spoke about the workshops, right? Now we're talking about the partnerships with OBMI. What sort of partnerships is the BTA seeking to improve accessibility on the island?
Well, anything, to be honest. When I was last on there, we spoke about, the small businesses or organizations that have been sort of fighting this fight for persons with disabilities for a long time now. And what I didn't want to happen was them get overshadowed by BTA. I want to make sure that they understand that we were just coming in, filling a gap when it came to the customer service portion, but we want to help push what they're doing out there so that we can help create a more accessible Bermuda. And so just by providing information to a chamber meeting, Bobby happened to be on there. And that's when she let me know that OBMI has this program called Accessible Solutions. And just like anybody else, I didn't even know that that they were even involved in this. And through more talking and conversation, I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. This is what we need. A lot of businesses and organizations were saying, okay, you want us to be more accessible. How do we do this? What's the best way of doing this? And here they are. They have a program that does exactly that. They will show you how to do all of that. And we're so excited to be partnering with them. And we have some other partnerships coming down the line as well that I look forward to sharing with you guys at some point.
So, Bobby, speak to us about the program Accessible Solutions and who can take advantage of it.
Well, Accessible Solutions came about a couple years ago, actually. And that is a result of the program that we had, Solutions for Seniors. Solutions for Seniors is part of the Age Concern program that we have. We're a link partner with the Age Concern. And what I decided to do was open that up to a wider demographic. Solutions for Seniors makes it sound like it's only for the seniors. So Accessible Solutions came about. And with that, we encompass a wider demographic and try to make any business, any home, or any retail outlet more accessible to those with physical challenges or even sight impairments or hearing impairments. And that's how the program came about. And since then, we've had quite a few enhancements to corporate buildings and retail operations as well. And some of our clients include AIG, Bacardi, and there's been a number of private residences as well. And that is including building some wheelchair accessible ramps and even sturdy handrails in bathrooms.
So, Bobby, what do you think has made the public more aware and wanting to make a difference and become more accessible?
I think the program, I think that the public has always been aware. Everyone that I've spoken to about the program or about accessibility in general have the same common concern that Bermuda, as beautiful as it is, has challenges when it comes to accessibility. And I believe that with the program now being highlighted by the PTA and Davida and her team, people are even more aware of accessibility challenges that we have.
Yeah, cool.
Now, there's going to be a workshop, Davida, on April 21st and moving forward. Tell us about them and what would they entail?
So the workshops basically are going to dive into overall, the first one on April 21st, of what to expect in different areas that OBMI touch on. And then from there, we'll go into May, which will deal with specifically landscape, and then June, interior, and July, architecture. So this will be able to give you all different areas of your homes or your businesses where you can make slight changes and things like that. One thing I like about OBMI is that they come in, and because I know when you hear OBMI, you think, oh man, money, dollar signs, right? But one thing I like about them is that they'll come in and they're actually looking at what's easy fixes for you. You know, what's simple. Oh, we can build a ramp, but this ramp you can pick up and you can take down and you can move it, you know. How about something as simple in your bathroom and things like that? So they're not coming to knock down walls and do it, not unless you want that, but they are coming to help you do some easy fixes, you know. And one thing we have to realize with Bermuda, it's a lot of old buildings. There's certain things you can and cannot do. But again, OBMI to the rescue, they will go through all of that and the legislations and all that other great stuff and do that work for you to see what they can do for you.
I think we should have probably asked this earlier, but Bobby, just give us an idea. What is OBMI?
So OBMI is actually one of the oldest architecture firms in Bermuda. It was established right here in Bermuda in 1936 by Will Onions. And since then we've grown. It's now become a more international organization, which we're happy about. But because we've been in Bermuda for 85 years, we know all about the architecture, the buildings, and what's involved in terms of enhancing your home or your organization or your retail outlet. So that is OBMI. And I know that a lot of people think of OBMI and they do think dollar signs, which we do have exclusive designs, yes, but we also have programs that are available to people at all budgets. We have a Small Works program that deals with a single scope of upgrade, solutions for seniors. We have an Imagine program, which provides virtual concepts of your designs before you even move forward, and of course, accessible solutions.
Alrighty. If you have questions or comments for today's guest, please just send them and we will ensure that, we'll do our best to read as many as possible. Caller John asks, does OBMI receive government funding for this program? Is it a sustainable program?
OBMI does not receive any funding from the government for this program. This is a program that we decided to launch to help organizations and private residences to enhance their venue for accessibility. What we will do is we will go into that home or that retail store or that corporation and we'll look around. We'll have a site visit, and which is completely free of cost, and then we'll take it back with us. We'll design the best approach that we feel is necessary, and taking into budgets into consideration, and then provide that schematic design to our client and have them make that ultimate choice whether they want to proceed with it. But it's completely transparent. There's no hidden fees. There's no lingo that you don't understand. It's right there in front of you. And as Davida touched on, we will be an advocate for that client and work with the planning department, work with the fire department, work with all legislation to make sure that the permits are in, the building codes are met, and that takes a lot of pressure off the client.
And just speak to us real quickly. How can people sign up to gain a better understanding of how OBMI can assist with becoming more accessible?
So they can go ahead. Wait.
Go ahead, Davida.
But you can go to bermuda.com/PTA and pick accessibility. You'll find some information about our training, awareness, customer service training, but also information about OBMI with a link to a website, as well as a registration of all the workshops that we're going to have. This is not all day workshops. It's just for about 45 minutes to give you guys an intro. OBMI is going to have some of their experts come in and talk to you and all of that type of stuff. So it's free. Just come get the information, come look at it. Again, it's all about being more accessible. If you thought it or consider it, then come have a conversation with them.
Did you want to add anything to that, Bobby?
Yes, absolutely. If you'd like to go to read more about our accessibility program, you can just go to bermuda.obmi.com/accessible, or you can always send us an email at accessible@obmi.com.
All right.
And oh, I was just going to say, I believe that comment from your listener, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that would maybe pertain to the new government allowance that they are giving people to upgrade their homes. And we can definitely, nothing has been confirmed in that how we want to approach that, but we have heard of it. And yes, absolutely, we take that into consideration and have the I believe it's a non-interest loan up to $50,000 that the government is providing people to enhance their property.
And she's referring to, folks, the Brown Lion Act does a solution with OBMI coincide with loans being offered to seniors for home upgrades. That's an excellent question, because I know there are seniors, let's say they have a home where it's 2-story and they may need accessibility to get upstairs of the home. That's what came to my mind first. So there is something there, you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's very interesting. How did the partnership with OBMI come about? And let's say there's someone else, let's say one of our partners, Medical House is on the screen. How can they say, you know what, we think this is a great idea. We'd also want to be a partner and just speak to people about how we can assist. Do they just reach out to you, Davida?
Yep, they can send an email to training@bermudatourism.com and just kind of say, this is what I do and I want to get involved. We've actually made contact with the Disability Center of Bermuda, that's under Ms. Lakeisha Wolf. And I'm excited to be able to share that partnership soon as well, because she talks about things within businesses and, HR and policies and things like that. So again, we're here just to be able to help spread the word. I feel that in order for Bermuda to be more accessible, it's not just from an infrastructure part, but it's from a whole scope of things. When sitting down and talking to persons with a disability, their issues come from all parts of the island and different areas and things like that. So I don't want people to be stuck on one part, but realize that the picture is much bigger. And I'm hoping that we'll just have a lot more partnerships we can share with you, and people will just get involved in the customer service training, as well as what we're providing with OBMI.
As I stated before, and this is just from my time in tourism, I did not realize this was such an issue until I worked in tourism. Because growing up, it's just not something you take note of, right? Unless it personally impacts you. And so it's a proud moment for me from that standpoint to see that these are moves that are being made. So props to OBMI and the Bermuda Tourism Authority, and hopefully more people can get on board. I do have concerns, though. I am a bit concerned about, I mean, it's no secret that Bermuda is scarce for land. There's not many there are some places, as you said, old buildings, and it's going to be costly, which really shouldn't be an issue, but also not just costly, but space-wise, do some places have the space, and what kind of solutions do we have for some of those places that may not have the space to offer, accessibility for all people? Yeah.
When you say that, and I'm glad you said that, I want people to think of it from not just I guess from a larger standpoint, when they think about, oh my gosh, I have this small space, what am I supposed to do with it? Think of it from as well as a customer service, right? When you travel and when we go away, we may not be able to go to this place or that place due to many different reasons. But if the customer service is top notch and we're still been able to get an experience through that, that goes a long way. I don't think most people remember that, oh, I was able to get to this building, but when I got there, the customer service was poorly, right? They're going to remember how they were treated and how that made them feel at the end of the day. So there are little things that you can do if you can't do from an infrastructure standpoint. I also say that there's little things you can do. A restaurant can have one menu in Braille. You know what I mean? They can just have one just in case. They can have one table that can be adjusted up and down. You know, you can get a portable ramp that you can put on. There are little changes, and in some cases, you know, there may not be. But I do say that there, in some way, you can do better when it comes to dealing with persons with disabilities.
Indeed. Let's go to, I believe this is Minister Tanae Furbett. It's up to 15,000, not 50,000. So clarity from the minister there. Talent TJ Clark says there's many functions the government miss out on and should be responsible for, including those of charities. I believe that Minister Tanae Furbett was on last week. She did say that her ministry covered charities, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Dawn Simmons says, contact Bermuda Housing Corp for more info on the loan program for home improvements. Carla John says, without a robust, in quotes, Bermudians with the Disabilities Act, unquote, we will continue to rely on the involvement and charity of private companies and organizations. I don't think this is sustainable, she says. Well, about sustainability, is that sustainable from your standpoint? I mean, I'm not an expert in this field. Well, not many fields. But.
I mean, from my personal opinion, I think anything could be sustainable, just depends what you put into it, right? At the end of the day, this fight is not just with me or private organizations or charities. This fight is for everybody. Like I say, there are a lot of us on island, and I was one of them that took my mobility for granted. I didn't think about it. I just knew I can walk upstairs. The only time when I really noticed that there were issues is when I had my son, and I realized with a stroller, I couldn't get into A, B, or C. And even after I had my son, I just went back to, again, just going on with my normal life, doing what I needed to do. And I think we tend to think like that unless it hits us at home, where we have somebody who is a person with disability at home, or we work with or something like that. So I just think that if we get together as Bermudians and realize that this can happen to any one of us at any time, if it's not happening to you now or a family member, let's think about the future as we start to get old and we become seniors and things like that. I think if we just keep it at the forefront and continuously take small actions, it can become sustainable, versus us just kind of forgetting about it because we're not in it. I mean, that's just my opinion regarding it.
This is a question that came up last week as well. Brandline asks, why is this being spearheaded by tourism?
I wouldn't say that I would say that the customer service portion is being spearheaded by tourism. When I used to work on the Bermuda Hospitality Institute, part of my job was to look at things that the industry needed. And one of the things that I noticed was disabilities that we lacked. We have a lot of travelers that come through on cruise ships because cruise ships are very accessible. But once they get here on island, it's kind of hard for them to move around. And I started to do my research and things like that. Again, I've seen charities and organizations out there spearhead their actions and doing things like that. However, I haven't seen them get a lot of assistance or feedback or help which they asked for, right? So it kind of fades out, unfortunately. And so with this, we're just coming in from a customer service standpoint to do better and create more accessible Bermuda. This was also something that when Red Sky was doing research for the National Tourism Plan, a lot of locals stated this, as well as visitors, that we aren't accessible. And so it became one of our national tourist plans. And this is why we took on this portion of it. We also created an accessibility working group that the Minister Tidney Farber is the chair of, and Keith Simmons is the deputy chair. So even through there, we look at different areas where we can assist and stuff. But again, we're not trying to take over from any smaller organizations. We're just trying to help assist and boost what they're already doing, and just kind of bringing more awareness to it, to the public.
Indeed. This is, I mean, again, it's great. But that I appreciate that question as well. It did seem like, well, and I think that's where the confusion came from a few weeks ago with the, headline that was a lot of people made an issue of on Twitter, as if, why is it about visitors and not locals? And you added clarity to that last time. No, it's about everyone, accessibility for everyone. Bobby, Davida, anything you want to leave the people with before we let you go today?
I'd just like to say that we talk about sustainability, but sustainability comes with commitment. And if you're committed to a change and to improving your home, your business, your corporation, then it will be sustainable. We all have to work together to design a barrier-free Bermuda. And it is for tourists, but it's for people that live here most of all as well. We need to realize that accessibility is a challenge in Bermuda, and if we all work together, it will be sustainable.
Alrighty.
And I would agree with Bobby there. Change starts with us. It doesn't start with just the charities and the organizations or the BTA. It starts with us. It starts with the first step of taking the initiative and learning more information about it. That's what I did, and it blew my mind. And so that's why I'm so involved with it. And it's a passion of mine now to just educate Bermudians about it. So I just say, start with yourself, be committed, and help us create more of an accessible Bermuda for everybody.
Alrighty. And Dawn Simmons asked a question, Davida. Can you repeat where you can find on Go to Bermuda website?
Not a problem. It is gotobermuda.com/BTA, and you will see a nice little portfolio on there about accessibility, and it will give you all the information you require. If not, you can always email training@bermudatourism.com.
All righty. My friends, thank you so much for coming and having this conversation. Bobby, we always see you in the comments, so thank you for being a guest. And look forward to having you back on another episode and seeing how this is working out.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
No problem.
Bye.
Have a great day.
You too.
All righty. So we have a couple of comments. Jody, Virgil, Carla.
This is a great way to focus on the changes that we can do. Our positive attitude and learning new infrastructure ideas will greatly help all residents and visitors too. Small steps make big differences.
Dejan Simmons says, happy to hear and see these last two episodes on inclusion and now accessibility. It's great to see some people care about the community, see us and the opportunity to make the island a better experience. Long overdue and great to see BTA is involved. Jody Virgil also says we can elevate the experiences for our residents and visitors to provide excellent value and enhance everyday life. Thanks again to Davida and Bobby. Honestly, Carla, I was just like, hold on, Davida's coming back again. This was like just last week or week before. We're going to talk about the same thing, but it just tells you the amount of information for that one conversation. It's unbelievable. And yeah, it's something I did not realize until I worked in tourism. I didn't.
I'm glad it's bringing in awareness. It's good to see that people are now starting to think about people who are differently abled, you know? So
Indeed. And you see it in education as well, right? You know, more things being made available in academic spaces. So I think there's progress being made. There's definitely progress being made in these areas. So can't be understated. So thank you for the work that they're doing. I do appreciate the questions about the government, wondering if it's sustainable and so on. But we did have the Minister Tanae Farber, what is it? Minister of Social Development and Seniors, right? I got that. Yeah, last week. So I'm sure you people can contact her ministry for more information, as well as the BTA and OBMI. So thanks again to Bobby Singh and Davida for joining us. When we come back, we'll wrap it up. Go back to this morning's conversation. We'll also have the daily play, which I know Carla's going to do well in today. I just know she's going to get it. No, why are you sucking your teeth? No,
I gave it a wink. I said, I didn't suck my teeth. I winked.
So you got it? You think you got it?
Mm-hmm. We're not going to talk about you jumping over. I wanted to talk about that too, but anyway.
I didn't jump over.
Anyway,
Hold on, we were going to say, let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it because answer this question, Carla. Why did you get so much pleasure out of that?
because you don't like water. So initially, when I first watched it, I saw he put on the goggles and all of that to go in a pool. I was just like, really, Michael Phelps? Okay. But then I did see that Nikki gave you a little encouragement to go over, and that just made my day. So when I'm in Bermuda and she's in Bermuda, I'm buying her some fruity drinks, and we're gonna giggle about April the 10th.
You call that encouragement?
Well, yeah, she encouraged you over.
You know?
But hold on, kudos to you because you raised a substantive amount of money. I felt that was substantive, so kudos to you.
Let's show the people before we go to break. Carla, I was honestly trying to avoid it, but Carla wasn't going to let me live it down.
Nope.
I just hope you all have some sympathy after viewing this. Here you go. Carla, you don't feel sorry for me yet? Look at this.
Not at all.
All right, folks. Me again, Jamal Hartman. So look, I'm building up my nerve to do this, and just wanted to bring something. You know, I need to protect my eyes because I need to be able to see you all. So I'm gonna put on my goggles. Safety first, all right? Gotta protect my eyes to do this. All right. 5 feet. I'm taller than 5 feet. So that's the deep end of this pool. So stick with me. I'm gonna go around, but I'm gonna step into the pool. We're not falling or jumping. Always the ones that you're supposed to trust. This is my first time in the water in so long. Thank you to everyone who didn't want to see me say it. You won't see this again for a long time. Bermuda Sloop Foundation. Make sure you contribute. Thanks again for what you do for Bermuda.
But the fact that you're huffing and puffing like you swam somewhere, it's like, ooh. Hilarious.
I can't believe you're getting such a kick out of this.
Jamal, you act like you swam like 100 meters. You're like, ooh. Because you fell in the water. You didn't even really fall. You like sashayed into the water. What a wimp.
Wow.
But I think you should do it again, and I'll even do it with you in Bermuda off of a real jump of some sort, a dock something, because that was kiddie pool play. Come on.
Well, folks, I see no one wants to talk about safety and being violent around the pool or any of this stuff. You all
I held my nose and jump farther than that. Jeez.
Carla really gets
without goggles. I have no sympathy.
This is it, Bobby. Like, look, like, yo. What? All right. So we're gonna take a quick break while Carla catches herself, right? And we're gonna, it's daily playtime. Unbelievable. I mean, I know she don't like me.
Don't let being a woman limit
limit you. I was raised by a man that said you could, look, we fixed our own bikes, I could tile. And my dad said this, my dad did not even finish high school. But he also said this, if you can read and follow instructions, you can do anything.
All right. Thanks again to our sponsors, Bermuda Economic Development Corporation right there. That's a pretty cool commercial. Linda's One
I
Communication.
love that lady.
Honestly, I love it. It's so natural. Medical House, and everyone that continues to support us. It's Daily Playtime. Don't forget, Kathy Rogers won this weekend's prize. The Daily Play is usually between 50 and 55 minutes after the hour. Today, it's a Who Said It for Carla. Thanks once again to Davida and Bobby for coming on. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please make sure you smash a like, love. If Carla made you laugh, well, she's about to. Please even give us one of those emojis. But here we go.
It's still being read.
Oh, here we go. Who said it, Carla? Quote, you have to have humility. You have to be able to humble yourself and know what you got, know where it came from, end quote.
I'm trying to think of the tie-in because I know it ties into something. I would say Christopher Reeves because it's handicapped, but is it Christopher Reeves? No. Teddy Pendergrass? I was trying to think of people in wheelchairs. Gotta humble you. Denzel Washington.
I'll read it one more time. Quote, you have to have humility. You have to be able to humble yourself and know what you got. Know where it came from. End quote.
Like, how would I know this? I don't know. Male or female? Give me something.
Male. I'm shocked no one's got it. You're right. It does tie into something.
It ties in. Mayor Dinkins?
All right. The quote is.
Oh, DMX.
SMX, but DMX.
DMX.
Yes, DMX said it was a recent interview with Revolt, I believe. You have to have humility. You have to be able to humble yourself and know what you got, know where it came from. DMX. So we lost a good one, a preacher, and a transparent one. So thank you to DMX for the ministries that he gave us through his music. And like I said, may we all do what we can to keep his legacy alive. Carla, do you have any inspiration for the people? We need some daily inspiration after a weekend that we hit. And yeah, go ahead.
Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. James Baldwin.
He was such a poet, wasn't he? Yeah, he was special. We didn't say it earlier, but through all of the confusion this weekend, Bermuda did record 2 more COVID deaths. And so I think I speak for many when I say to the families of the people who've been lost, sincere condolences. And to those who still don't take it seriously and still want to do what they want to do, please just think of these families. Let's just be more conscious and caring, and remember that this is real, regardless of how we feel about the politics. This virus has been so divisive. I mean, I thought politics was bad. This is so divisive, and I'm not quite sure that it needs to be. Less politics, more expertise, and more sense. Any final words on today's episode, Carla?
No, I can't. I'm winded watching you fall off the side of the pool. But just a great Monday. Everyone have a great Monday. Accessibility is important, and we need to stop thinking outside of ourselves. So anyway, if we have a business that we can make more accessible, then let's try to do it.
Yeah, she's not gonna let me get over this pool. I don't know what I've done to her, but We're going to work it out. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House One Communications and Lindos, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we will be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Carla Zul. I'm Jamel Hartman. Make it a great day.